Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and we have a mishmash here to wrap things up. It's going to be more of just a kind of a Friday Reads edition than anything else, but there's a little bit more that I'll probably talk about along the way. So I'm only looking at March. We're 6 days into March, and I have finished 6 books so far in March. 4 of which I started in March. 2 carryovers from the previous month I finished. So I feel like I've hit a really good pace so far. It's not going to be something I'm going to keep up. I'm hoping to finish one more tomorrow. And I'll talk about that a little bit. So the first book I finished this month, I read all of this on March 1st. This was Binti by Nettie Akoraphor. And I had heard lots and lots of good things about it. I finally bit the bullet with my last Christmas funds at a indie bookshop. I mean, this is a small volume. It's 90 pages-ish. And every time I had seen this or Murderbot, I was always held back by the price. But I finally did it, and I'm glad I did. This was absolutely enjoyable. I can't wait to read more in the Binti series. Very, very, very enjoyable. Highly recommend. And it literally is a book that you could finish in one sitting. Next, I finished the second of the Stainless Steel Rats. So this has got the first 3 in it. I read Stainless Steel Rats Revenge. I had about 70 pages of it that I didn't get to in February because I had to put it on hold for the vast majority of the month after making quite a good bit of progress in it. So I knew I wanted to get back to this and just had an absolute blast with it. They are never going to be my favorite books, but they are very enjoyable. So I'm very, very glad that I've got the collection of the first 3. It replaced some pretty old, beat-up paperbacks. I didn't have anything beyond the first 3 anyway. And now I've got some good ones. The one I can't hold up because, well, it's all within a big, giant collection, and Shakespeare's helping to hold my phone up right now. But I read Julius Caesar. I had originally planned on reading this sometime in March, and I wasted no time getting around to it, and had an absolute blast with Julius Caesar. It's extremely good. So many quotable lines in there. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. If you haven't read Julius Caesar, I highly recommend you do so. It is a really good play from Shakespeare. Then I got to my 3rd out of the 6 complete novels in here. So I did The Invisible Man, and really enjoyed it. Probably the least favorite of the 3 that I've revisited so far. I revisited War of the Worlds and then Island of Dr. Moreau. But absolutely enjoyable. Really good time. So I've got 3 more in here to get to. 2 of them I know I've never read before. Then I finally finished The Acts of King Arthur and His Noble Knights by John Steinbeck. I will say that it is probably my favorite thing that John Steinbeck has written. That being said, it's still hasn't won me over to John Steinbeck. It was very readable, very enjoyable. Good pacing. I like what he did here, but I don't think it's one that I feel in need to keep in my collection. So I'm sorry, Steinbeck. You're not for me. And then I finally got around to The Curse. There's a cursed book that's been going around BookTube a little bit. That is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. I'll have to add my name into here, but one of the neat thing was to open it a couple pages in and be able to see the booktubers who have had this copy of the book in their hands. So, I've got signatures here, technically from Juanet, played by Visions, David Olive from Book Blather, Justin from This Just In, Michael K. Vaughn, Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. So I'll be adding my name onto this, and I will be passing it along. So if you are interested in Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, this is a extremely fast read. You can probably finish it in one sitting, much like Binti. It is interesting in its approach of using email correspondence and instant messenger chats to tell the story. The subject matter is a little unusual. It is, I think it's called like weird punk or something like that. Let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of like by Weird Punk Books, so that's the publisher. It's kind of horror-ish, kind of little grotesque at times, so if that sounds like your sort of thing, or if you just want something quick to read and to be able to hold a copy that other great booktubers have held, let me know. If only one person wants it in the next week or so, I'll send it off to them, along with some other books. If multiple people want it, I'll certainly draw for it. I'll ship international. So if you're interested, let me know. The one book I guarantee will also go with it. I've got this arc that I got last year, The Smashed Man of Dread End by J.W. Oker, which I did enjoy quite a bit. Reminded me a lot of Goosebumps. So kind of a middle grade, light horror type thing. Really enjoyed it. And so since it's an arc, I mean, I can't really sell it, so I'd rather pass it along and get it in the hands of somebody who will enjoy it. And you never know, there might be a couple other books packed in there with it. There may or may not end up being a copy of one or two of my books. I'm probably about ready to order some author copies off of Amazon. And so I'll be sending that care package off to whoever wants that cursed book. And then I liked the idea of having the signatures inside of this and having books that travel. And so I've got some ideas spinning around. I'll just stop with that. I've got some ideas I'm kicking around that might come around sometime soon. I'll be getting in touch with some other author tubers and see if we can't put together a little bundle to make its way, around the country, at least stateside, maybe even international, so that people can sample some of my writing. Jeremy Fee, Margaret Pinard, and folks like that, who I know are also authors and have works that it'd be great to just spread them around and let people have a chance to, for the price of shipping, be able to try out, a couple different authors and then pass them along. So that's what I've finished so far this month. What I expect to finish tomorrow is a play, St. Joan, by George Bernard Shaw. I picked it up on a whim a while back and have been wanting to get around to it simply because I'm interested in Joan of Arc. I would like to learn more about Joan of Arc. I would gladly see something like a starter kit from Steve Donahue on Joan of Arc and the historical period, as well as the person of Joan of Arc herself. So far, I would think I've read 5 acts. I've either finished 5 acts or I'm about to start Act 5. But I've got probably 50, 60 pages left to go in the play. It's roughly 100 pages long. It's enjoyable. It's very different than Shakespeare, of course. But the reading of Shakespeare has me wanting to dive into a couple more plays. I do have a few others on my shelf that I've been meaning to get around to. So this may be a March of the Plays, along with the March of the Poems. And so I've also been reading, of course, you've seen it every day here in March, except for March 1st, Poems of the English Language. And you'll see again tomorrow. And hopefully every day in March, if I'm able to keep on track with that. And who knows, maybe I'll continue going on beyond and get through each and every poet along the way and share something each day from each of the different poets. I think that would be a fun way to explore that. Some of them, there's only the one. Others, I'm going to have a choice between 3, 4, 5 different things to share and choose one and read it out loud to you. And I've been enjoying that tremendously. The other book I've been reading has been Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson, which I mentioned during my bookshelf tour. It's a reread for me. I played a board game that's based on that Reckoner series, and it had me absolutely wanting to reread that book. Probably just will reread the first book because I'm on this 100-book challenge and would like to actually focus on books that I own. And I don't own those books yet, but I plan to at some point in time. Yeah, that's what I'm currently in the middle of reading. Apart from picking up a couple of other plays, I definitely want to get to the second book of Amber, the series by Roger Zelazny. That was the other BookTube spin book. I've been very, very anxious to get back into that series. I'd like to read the third stainless steel rat book that's in that collection. I'd like to finish the Forever War series, so I've got one more book in that trilogy. And all of those are relatively short reads. And then from there, I'm not sure. I'm thinking that I'm going to probably, before the end of this month, pick up 3 longer reads and start making some headway in each of them. I'm going to pick up Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons because I need to get back to Hyperion Cantos, and I loved Hyperion. So it's something that's going to bring me immense joy to get around to. I'm probably going to at least start on Tale of the Genji, because that was originally what I was thinking of for March of the Mammoth, and since you don't have to finish the book in the month, I think I can at least make a start in it and get it, a page or 2 read at worst. So I'm going to be taking a look at that and seeing if there's a good target to get to this month, and see if I can chip away at that over the course of the next few months as my real big mammoth alongside the poetry. And then I'm going to pick up something fantasy. 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City by K.J. Parker comes to mind because I've wanted to get to that, and that's kind of shorter. A Hero Born by Jin Yong, that Legend of the Condor Heroes series, really, really fascinates me, and I really want to try that one out sometime soon. But there's also ones that, like Patrick Rothfuss and Ted Williams, that I haven't read anything by them yet, and I want to get around to. And I've got Robert E. Howard and Robin Hobb both calling my name, saying, read me, and even stronger than that, Tolkien pulling at me with his History of the Middle Earth. So I've got a lot of things that are calling to me. We'll see what I settle on after I chip away at those last couple of shorter works and finish off a couple of series. And then I think for Ray Bradbury, I'm going to probably pick up R is for Rocket next, because that was one that I had, S is for Space. I've got both of them. I'll pick up one of the two. I think it was S is for Space that I had on my shelf. But I was looking at reading one of them back in November and just never got a chance to. I instead finished Graveyard for Lunatics, and don't regret that choice. But I would love to read more Bradbury and get another one of those going. And since a lot of his are short stories, that would be an easy one to add on to the shelf of I'm chipping away at this slowly as I have some time. So that's all I kind of want to talk about. As a reminder, if you want the cursed book, along with this ARC copy of Smash Man of Dread End, along with potentially some other stuff tossed in there, let me know in the comments. And if I have only one person next weekend, I'll just reach out to them and get their info and get this off to them. If I've got multiple people, I'll do a spin next weekend and get that going. So thank you, BookTube.